Hey, J Pittman, what's going on, man? All right, let's see here. I just, yes, sir. For now, hopefully we got more people in. All right, let's see. How's it going, man? Appreciate you coming in. Okay. All right. Sorry, just trying to make sure everything's up and running. Uh, am I working on anything cool in the shop? I actually just finished a bass pedal board today. Nothing crazy cool. I do have a decent sized rig build coming up this coming month that I'm really excited about. It's going to be this massive like 32-inch board with a PBC 10 from RJM running like a wet dry thing. It's going to be like pretty in depth, running, MIDI, wet effects, everything, the whole 9 yards. So I'm actually pretty excited about that one. That one will be a really cool walkthrough to do. Said audio is good. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate the heads up. I'm doing a new setup today where we're actually able to make everything work. So we're trying to kind of troubleshoot on the fly. Hey, worship leader, what's going on, guys? So you said loops and routing. About this board I'm talking about. Uh, uh, so if you're on YT, somebody asked me who am I talking to. So we're doing multi-stream today. We're going on TikTok, IG, YT. So we're getting comments from every platform. So if there's a question that I'm answering, and you're not seeing it, that's why. We're getting it from 3 different places right now. So uh, sorry, Dale Cooper, you are super handsome. Thank you. Um, Crisp, Crispin Murphy, thank you for that as well. Uh, you're bigger than fish. Oh, you know what? I'll take it. I appreciate it. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I'm referring to the YT chat, but I don't want to say what they said in hopes of not getting banned. But hey, worship leader, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming in. Uh, Jay Pittman. So, all right, yeah. So in reference to uh, uh, that build that I'm talking about, yeah, I think we're doing like 5 or 6 overdrive pedals all in the loops, and then the rest of the loops in the PBC 10 are supposed to be stereo. So yeah, it's gonna be like this wet dry thing. We're splitting the audio and everything. So it should be cool. It'll be a very involved rig. I plan on doing a full length video on it since it's pretty in depth. Cooper, super. It's a shame I can't look up you guys over on YT. Oh man. Everybody on TikTok, thank you for joining in. Who we got here? Jones Guy, Charles, No Country Music, Pentatonikus. What's going on? All right, let's see what we got here. Okay. All right, we're not doing that. All right. So, so it looks like you guys, or hey, worship leader, you guys used to, or you used to work in the same spot that Jay's working in now. Say hello in Texas too. I think I sing nice, make a song. I'll you want to make a song, you hit me up offline. Jesus. Hey, worship leader. So I'm just catching up at the same rig. Yeah, so Mason Marangella of Vertex is the quote unquote rig doctor. So this is like we're a sister company to Vertex. Two different companies run completely differently and completely separately. But yeah, we kind of intermingle a little bit. But on the rig doctor side of things, there's me and one other guy, Jacob, that run the show. And on this side, I'm kind of the face, I guess. Whereas on the Vertex side, Mason is the face. So yeah, same general group, but Mason's not as involved on this side of things. Pentatonic, do you play Megadeth? No, I do not. um, that's just out of my wheelhouse for one, but I don't, I play more original music. Like I play guitar for a couple artists and whatnot, and I play their original music and kind of uh, low level covers, I guess. But I don't play a lot of like top 40 stuff or especially within the Megadeth like genre overall. That's just not my style. Hey, worship leader, do you do builds? Yes, I do. So all the builds that you see on the Rig Doctor is me. That's all me. I do all the pedalboard builds. I make all the cabling, all the content you see. That's all me. Um, so what's the difference? I realized it was two different things. So on the Vertex side of things, Vertex is guitar pedals, and obviously Mason does his YouTube content, on different guitar stuff. But on the Rig Doctor side, we're more focused on pedalboard builds, DIY builds, just tone in general, helping people who don't know anything about guitar or signal chain and stuff like that. We kind of teach people how to do all that stuff, so that way you can take that information home and build it yourself, or we can build your board for you, anything like that. But we're trying to educate people on this side. So if you need anything for a rig build, you reach out to us. We can make it for you. We can build the whole rig for you. We can do consulting and just guide you on everything. So it's a little bit of everything on this side, but we don't build pedals, whereas on the Vertex side, that's what Mason does. Gutty ranks, love your builds, dude. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. Glad somebody enjoys them. Irish, how's it going? Thank you for the love. I really appreciate you. How are you today? On the side, do you support Mel Gibson 7955 on YT? I'm not discussing anything political, controversial, nothing like that. We are strictly music here. What are your thoughts on Kirsten, please? Yeah, that's not that you're in the wrong spot for that. I can tell you that much. So yeah, we're not doing anything political or no world news, nothing like that. Do I wear wigs? Yeah, this is a wig. I was really hoping people wouldn't notice, but alas. Irish, I'm doing well. I'm coming down. I had a little bit of a hiccup with the audio right before this, and I was like panicking like 3 minutes before I was supposed to start this, but I'm good now. I wish I've watched so much and it's been a big help. I'm really happy to hear that, honestly. Like I'm really trying to do this to educate people, because when I was coming up, Mason used to do his live streams, and that was a big thing for me learning. So I'm trying to bring that back so I can help other people. So I'm really glad it's working for you. All right, good to hear. You got everything taken care of with your house? Is all that stuff done now? At Mel Gibson 7955, best regards from Iceland. I mean, regards to you as well. Yes, sorry to disappoint, but I appreciate you being cordial. Irish, yes, I am. I'm doing YT, IG, and TikTok. I found a way to make it work. It required a purchase today, a last minute purchase, but yeah, we're good. I think we've got it. Everything seems to be working well so far. So, Gutty ranks. You see Boss releasing an updated version of the ES series of Switches anytime soon? Um, that's a good question. I could see them doing an updated release, in the next year or two, but uh, I don't know if it'll happen. If they do, maybe they. It's really hard to say honestly because their stuff is pretty popular, and it is what it is. It doesn't necessarily need a lot of updating, and the way Boss does their stuff anyway, like I um I don't think they're gonna update it with anything crazy, but. Yeah, I doubt they'll do anything. If they do release something new, like a Mark II version, I doubt it'll be that much different than what's out now. All right, floors will be released tomorrow. Cool. Awesome. That's great. I'm I'm betting you're excited about that. We like well-oiled machines at work, drums, guitars, and pedal. Yeah, this is not a well-oiled machine. I really wish it was. I would be so much happier if it was. I am when it comes to this stuff, I am organized chaos at best. Is that beard real or also a wig? I just I shaved my body earlier and I just glued hair to my face. So yeah, it's not a wig, it's not real. Yeah, I took a buzzer to my back and just glued everything on. But I mean, I really appreciate you noticing. Goody ranks. I love mine. It's just crazy how long they've been on the market. Yeah, man. There hasn't been any like new switchers on the market um that I've seen. I mean, what's out there is, I feel like as good as it's gonna get. There's really not much else you can really expect from some of these market switchers. Like the RJM stuff does everything you could want it to, so I don't know what improvements they could make. Um, the only thing I could think maybe with Boss is them adding an internal line mixer like the RJM stuff has. That's the only major improvement I can think of them doing that would actually up the value. Seems I should jump to another platform and help. um, yeah, that would be helpful. This is my first time streaming live to YT. Uh, so you kind of never know what you're gonna get. Uh, I just did it on a whim. Figured let's try it, hope for the best. So you, what do they say? The freaks come out at night. Tom Schuster, what's going on? Great, you got this. I'm trying. I'm trying desperately. Yeah, I never know what I'm gonna get, and I have to obviously keep everything like PG rated for the most part. That's always a struggle because you get the weirdos, you get the trolls and everything. Um, Trying to maintain, being cordial for the most part is a struggle. Good rings. Favorite pedal of 2025 so far? Ooh, that is a good question. Are you talking about pedals that got released this year or pedals that I tried this year? Because that's gonna determine the answer to that question. Said the struggle is real. I can only imagine on your side too, like how frustrating it must be to have to monitor all of that. That'll be the Brown amplification ethane. Oh, is that the? Remind me again, Gutty Ranks. Which what pedal was that? I remember seeing it. I forget what circuit is based off of. Is all. Because the last one that I remember was their what is it, the Skyhawk or something like that, the stereo chorus. But I remember seeing the ethane or Ethan, whatever it's supposed to be. I just don't remember what circuit it is. Got released. So it's a good question. Man, what's been released this year? You know what? I'd have to say, and this is probably a really stupid, uh, probably a really stupid answer, but the Walrus Audio clock. It's like a MIDI clock you can sync to your entire board. That's the one that I picked up this year because I saw it and got real excited about it. Um, so I'd have to say that, but that's the only pedal I think I've tried this year that was released this year. Uh, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce your OG Kush. What do you think of the guitar on Rise by Extreme Nuno? Uh, Honestly, man, anything Nuno does is insane. Um, I'm drawing a blank on the specific guitar part, but anything I've heard from Nuno, anything that Nuno has done is just so impressive. That dude is hands down one of the greatest guitarists of all time, if you ask me. He might not be like the most like influential and everything, but just sheer talent, that dude is insane. Clay, what's going on, brother? What are you up to? The man, the myth, the legend is in the house now. Gonna said that ethane is another dual overdraw made by Brown. They also make protein carbonate, but the ethane is one side is a blues break, the other side is a griddle door. Ah, yes. Okay, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, yeah. The tube screamer on one side, the blues breaker on the other. Um, so I haven't specifically heard the demos from that one, but I have the protein, and it's lived on my board for a while. The Blues Breaker side that they make is fantastic. Highly recommend it. I haven't tried their gridded door, but the demos I heard of it when it came out was pretty good. So I have to assume that the ethane is just as great. Um, but yeah, I mean it's a classic combination, right? The Blues Breaker and the Tube Screamer. So I mean anything that Brown does from my experience has been fantastic. Like they don't put out any bad products. So yeah, like I can't specifically speak to the ethane, but yeah, I've heard the individual pedals and they're great. I'm sure they were definitely catering to the mayor crowd on that one, uh, for obvious reasons. But um, yeah, I mean, Blues Breaker is and plus the Tube Screamer is a great combo. Irish, thank you for sharing and everything. I really, really appreciate you. Let me send this out. Let's see, can I? Let's try that. All right. So I figured today, kind of focusing on, putting together live rigs, because that seems to be the one of the main questions that I get a lot. Had a couple consultations in the last week where um, people are trying to put their live boards together and they're struggling with it. And most people, most people aren't pros who are doing this, right? So, um, yeah, it's a lot of your kind of bedroom guitars, but guys who are playing in a local band, they're playing at the local bar or whatever it may be. So I usually like there's not to give like step by step instructions, but there are some tips that I like to focus on when it comes to this. Um, like you need something that's going to be easy to set up, easy to put away, easy to operate. Like if something were to go wrong, you need to be able to diagnose things pretty quickly. So simplicity is always a better idea. Even if you have a larger board, just keeping things less than complex whenever possible. Um, so obviously, it needs to be reliable, right? So you don't want to overcomplicate most of this stuff. And I say that as somebody who overcomplicates my live rig. Um, but for one, if you're gonna do anything, if you're gonna take anything away from like putting a live rig together, it's make sure your power supply is as reliable as it can be, because that's kind of the core of everything. And if your power supply is crap, you're gonna get noise. You're gonna have all sorts of issues. It's the power supply seems to be the culprit for most issues that I see on boards nowadays. Let me see. Thoughts on the archetypes from Neural DSP. So, yes, I I haven't used most of them just because I'm not that style of player. Like obviously they're geared towards heavier players. Um, but I have heard in person the Gojira, which sounded great. Um, I did try the what is it? The Cory Wong archetype. 'Cause that's just more up my alley, like the clean funk thing, and it sounded really, really good. Um, Obviously, like there is a sterile aspect to some of them just because it's digital emulations, but I have to say the neural stuff is really, really good. If you're gonna get any um like any what's the word I'm looking for? Like amp sim for your DAW, neural to me is the way to go. Uh, yep. Sorry about that. Forgot about turning that off. My bad. Um, yeah, and like they're what do they have? I think they have the Tone King Imperial. That sounds incredible. The forget if they have the Milkman or if that's Mixwave. But he said, how would you use them? So if it were me and I'm tracking guitar, I'm gonna go in through a DI into your interface, track obviously you can monitor through your DAW and with the plugin and everything. I'm not sure if they have standalone apps that you can use outside of your DAW or if it's just the plugin, but I would track DI guitar whenever possible, um, and then load up the plugin and then tweak the sound from there, and then tweak it like tweak it for the mix, for the song, however, whatever sound you need. And then once you have it set, commit the audio. So that way that plugin isn't just running on that channel all the time. So the biggest thing you want to do is make sure you're committing the audio for that. So Depending on what DAW you're using, you should be able to commit or bounce it in place or whatever it may be, and commit that amp plug-in to the audio track. And now it'll be tracked just like, would be if it was played through the actual amp. But and choosing which archetype is a whole different thing. It just depends on your style. Make sure we're not getting anything over here. Okay. So kind of going back to these live rigs, right? The other thing too, like obviously power supply is the biggest thing, but make sure that you're labeling everything. If you're running anything that's slightly complicated or running a switcher, or if you have an interface with multiple inputs and outputs, make sure you're labeling all that stuff. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people mess up the connections on their board because something was either not labeled or mislabeled. And with that too is kind of going, say you're running an interface, right? And you're running a 4-cable method rig. You need to make sure that everything, for one, is labeled, but you need to have contingencies in place for a lot of that stuff. Because I've been to gigs where I'm running, a wet dry setup, or I'm running 4-cable method or something, and I get to a venue and they're backlining, and you have to use the amp that they have there, and it's a Fender Twin, so there's no effects loop. It's just straight into the front end of that amp. So now I'm screwed. My whole setup is based on running 4-cable method, and now I have to run into the front end of a Fender with no real way to reroute things. That lucky guy, thank you for the follow, man. I really appreciate it. So you need to kind of have some contingencies in place for that kind of thing. If you are running, 4-cable method, honestly, carrying around a spare patch cable just to patch your, what's going to the front end of the amp and into the first wet effect, now you can change that whole thing into mono. So keeping just a spare patch cable on, you can solve that. Gotta support my musicians. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. What do you play, that lucky guy? Or that guy lucky, sorry. I've been messing that up. My bad. Good Rank says, as a guitarist who tours and performs constantly, do you think it's worth having a stereo rig, playing small clubs to amphitheaters for reference? I have to say yes. And now it depends, because stereo to me is going to make you sound a lot bigger, especially if you're the only guitarist in the band. If you're the only guitarist, running stereo is going to make things just bigger, and you need to fill up more space that way, right? So now, if you ask me, I think it's worth running more of like a 5-cable method or a wet dry wet, but with stereo amps. I think you're going to get a bigger sound doing it that way. Now, again, this is kind of dependent on whether or not you are the only guitarist in the band or not. Waiting for a grandma to chime in. Here goes, play more. We're kind of doing like a Q&A and gear chat for the most part, with some playing in between. We're not necessarily like playing songs. But that guy lucky, I'll come back to your question about the head rush boards. But Gutty Ranks, so it depends. I hate to say that, but it really does. I do think stereo can be worth it, but you do need to make sure that, for one, if you're going to run stereo, you need a way to flip the phase or the polarity on that second amp. You have to have some sort of isolation in your signal chain somewhere, so that way you can flip the phase of that second amp. Now, if you are going to run stereo, to me, the best results I've had is 1 amp or 1 cab on either side of the stage. So you're getting that full stereo effect, especially if you're going for stage volume. If you're going direct, front of house can handle that. But for the most part, I think stereo can be worth it, just if you're doing it right. But like me, I'm running a 5-cable method setup, but I'm using a line mixer. So with that, I'm able to run wet, dry, wet with 2 outputs. So, and it sounds huge. So I think there are benefits to it depending on how you're running things. All right. So that guy Lucky, all right, what do you think about Headrush pedal boards and Wi-Fi amp speakers? Wi-Fi amp speakers. What are you referring to on that? I don't know specifically what those are. I haven't heard of them. So the Headrush pedal boards though, I mean they're basically, kind of like a Line 6 Helix sort of thing. Headrush has a few other big names. I'm assuming are you talking about something that's kind of like the like a positive grit Spark sort of thing where you can Bluetooth to it and all that? Wi-Fi amps that are just for the pedal boards. That's a good question. Let me check that real quick. Are you talking about like the wedge that they have? You can kind of use it as a monitor. Because that's the only thing I'm seeing, Headrush Wi-Fi amps. Is that what you're referring to on that? Sorry, over on YT, get a nice 4-cable Snakemate or 3, have an extra. The stereo rig is for you on stage, unless the sound guy is going to go with your rig. So, yeah, I do think that, and this does depend on what kind of rig you're running, but 4-cable method could be a better alternative. It's definitely a little simpler, a little bit less to worry about. But yeah, I think stereo is a great option if you're the only guitarist in a group. If you're not, then one guitar, the lead guitarist being stereo and the rhythm guitarist being mono, or vice versa, I think could be really cool. But if you have multiple guitarists and you're all running stereo, I think at that point, you're kind of getting to be overkill and unnecessary. You're going to get a lot of bleed and things may not blend so well. That guy Lucky, Wi-Fi amps that are for the pedal board. All right, so they can operate like a PA, but on Wi-Fi. Yes. Yeah, man. I honestly haven't heard of those before. That's a first. Truthfully, I wouldn't um I wouldn't trust that when it comes to wireless connections like that. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth in a live setting, at least, things can go wrong really quickly. So I just got onto those. So yeah, man, I'd be interested in seeing specifically what you're talking about. If you don't mind, DM me a link to what specifically you're using. Because I'd like to see that, but I don't know if I would necessarily trust the connection, playing out locally or something, because some of those wireless connections aren't great. Even a regular wireless guitar unit can really be screwed up. I've even with my wireless unit a couple of years ago, I took it to downtown Houston to play a festival, and I was getting all sorts of interference because I was downtown in between all the buildings and everything, and it just wouldn't work. Jonathan Nisley, where's the sick telly? It's hanging right up here on the wall. I was trying to go for something a little different today. This is what I'm mainly playing live at the moment. So, and because I'm a Fender guy, I am trying really hard to get used to the neck profile on the Les Paul. So I'm trying to play it a little more. This is more for me than anything, if I'm honest. So I trust the 4 cable method best. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you, honestly. It's it's easy, it works. There's a lot less room for error than stereo. You don't have to worry about grounding. Um, but it's 4 cable method is great if you're not running a clean amp. If you're running anything but a clean amp, I highly recommend it. It's worth the extra cabling. It's worth having the interface to do it. But if you're running a strictly clean amp, you don't have to do it. You're not gaining any benefit from it. So I like the action on LP bodies. Yeah, man, you know what? The action on this is actually great. I just had this set up about 2 or 3 months ago, and it plays fantastically. But I'm not a Gibson guy. The necks are just too thick for what I'm used to. So it's just taken a little bit of getting used to. I normally only play this if I need to record a part that needs it, but live I'm usually on a Strat or a Tele. So I know the struggle. Yep. Yeah, it's a whole thing, man. I grew up on Fenders, so I'm so used to that. Like I've got a couple of Gretches here and whatnot, but my go-to is a Tele or a Strat. And for the group I'm playing in right now, I'm now the only guitarist, so I have to fill up more space, and the humbuckers really help with that. And this is the only humbucker guitar I have, so I'm forced to use this for now. Let's see. I've been spoiled by Fender type bodies my whole life, and I'm on a Jackson and Gretsch. Nice. Okay. What are you playing heavier music? Like, is that why you went over to Gretsch? Or I'm sorry, Jackson. Excuse me. I have so I've got a Gretsch. I want to say it's what is it, electromagnetic or no, I'm sorry. I have a Gretsch Streamliner. That's what this is. With P90s in it. And then my dream guitar, like one that I just absolutely wanted to have, and finally found is a Gretsch White Falcon. So I have crap, I'm forgetting the year. It's a reissue. I'm drawing a blank on the year, but I found it in a guitar shop in Houston like 3 or 4 years ago. I walked in, saw it, and my wife saw me drooling over it, and she was like, "Just buy it." And man, it sounds so good, but it has its place. Like it's not for everything. Yeah, I did a Peter Green mod to my LP Gretsch. Nice. All right. Interesting. So I'm actually looking to swap the pickups out of this. I don't know what I want. I have no idea whatsoever. I want something with like a heavy rhythm kind of sound, something good for like country and rock. Because these are just the stock pickups, and I want something just a little fuller. So we're gonna use a Gretsch for older ACD type rhythm, MISG for the lead. Nice, smart. Yeah, when I was probably 2 years ago when I was tracking guitar, I would borrow my buddy's SG uh, to do rhythm because it just gave me a really nice chunky rhythm out of that guitar. Um, but yeah, if I need something like that now, I use this. To me, so I use my Gretsch Streamliner with the P90s if I need like just big single strum chords to reinforce the parts that are already there. I'll use that because it gets a decently heavy sound. The White Falcon, it's if it's clean or like super low gain, like Blues Breaker style kind of thing, that's when I'll break that out. Um, or if I just need like clean country or just like a really nice clean sound, that will do it really well. I just my biggest frustration with both of them is they both have Bigsby's on them, and they are such a pain to restring. So, all right, I'll get back to like some of these tips on putting your live boards together. So, let's see, where did I leave off? All right, so let's talk redundancy because redundancy here, when you're putting a board, there's good and bad redundancy, obviously. But you don't want to have 8 different overdrives. That's overkill. That to me is like that's bad redundancy. 2 or 3 overdrives at most will get you where you want to be. If you're running a clean amp and you want to have a couple different flavors, okay, understandable. If you're playing in a variety band or a top 40s band or something like that, a wedding band, and you need some variety, okay, I can see, maybe 5 or 6 different overdrives just to give yourself, plenty of variety for that kind of thing. But if you're playing in a, kind of a generic rock cover band or, you're playing original music, you can pare that down to 2 or 3 different overdrives. Um, Most of the time, you're not going to need more than that. Now, if you're running a dirty amp where you're getting some breakup or some heavy distortion from your amp, an overdrive or distortion and a boost or something like that will definitely do the trick for you. You don't need anything really. You don't need 5 or 6 different overdrives for that. Um, so that's obviously an example of bad redundancy. Now, a good example of redundancy here would be having a backup plan. So, say you run a Vox AC30 as your amp, right? Now, it's not ideal to carry 2 of them around, but if you're able to carry an AC10 or an AC15 and have that as a backup in case your amp goes down, that's a great idea. Now, if you financially can't do that or it just can't have something like that around, then carry around an amp sim pedal. The Universal Audio Ruby is a great amp sim for a Vox AC30. Carrying a backup plan like that around in case your amp goes down and dies, now you have a backup plan. If your tube dies or the venue just has crappy power and it blows your amp. So now you have a solid plan and it requires almost zero setup. That guy Lucky Man, thank you so much. Thank you for the heart me, man. Curious man, like what style of music do you play? Like who your main influences, like playing style? But yeah, so you want to have some sort of backup plan, like especially for amps. There's plenty of amp sims out there that cover most amps that most people are going to use. If you're if you're running a matchless, like you can get yourself an HX Stomp and there's a matchless setting on there. Just dial it in to be a similar sound. There's plenty of options that you can go with where you can patch something in pretty quickly. Hypergolic, what's going on, man? How are you? Thanks for joining in. How you been? Let me see here. Should I send this out? Nope. All right. Mars guitar, man. What's going on? Regalic, what's the rig? So I'm back to my studio rig. So I'm running my pedalboard rack, like 5 or 6 different overdrives. Even tied H9. I got the 3 Walrus Mako pedals, the M1, D1, R1. Running into a Kemper, on a matchless DC30 patch. This is my quote unquote clean tone. Appreciate it. He said I heard R2D2. That's basically it. How does it clean up with volume? Pretty well. I have it. So the patch comes with a was it clean, breakup, and driven. So I'm on the breakup side of it. So it'll clean up nicely. But for me, like my clean tone isn't clean. So, I'm getting schooled. This is all like gear nerd talk. This is where I live. I dabble with a little bit of everything, but home is 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s rock, metal. I do blues and grunge. Nice. Okay. I like that. A little bit of everything. I honestly I wish I was more like that. I've got a very specific era that I tend to stick to. Um, Anyone that knows me knows I'm a big Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, like Hendrix fan, so that's kind of where my style lies. So I grew up playing like kind of that Hendrix style, um, and I'm trying to have to let that go a little bit now that I'm playing country and stuff. So good ranks. Which Les Paul is that? So this is a 2016 Les Paul Traditional. I don't know if you're able to see, but show this camera as well. Yeah, so I picked this up about 2 years ago from a friend of a friend. I used to have a Les Paul Studio, an Alpine white Les Paul Studio, and it was cool. I picked it up for like $700 at a pawn shop, and it was super light, which I loved. But I just wanted an upgrade, and I picked this up, and this is like 3 times as heavy. So it plays great. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'm just still kind of getting used to it. So Frusciante's one of the goats. Absolutely, dude. I mean, I'm a big Chili Pepper fan. I my dad is one of the biggest Hendrix fans I've ever seen in my life, so I grew up listening to Hendrix all the time. Hendrix, Stones, Zeppelin, all that. So that's kind of where I drew some of my influence from. But once I got turned on to Chili Peppers and realized Frusciante's a big Hendrix fan, I took to it immediately. So yeah, it's my thing. Like I have every Frusciante pedal as part of my collection here. I have the Relict 60s Sunburst Strat, the whole 9 yards. Grip roll around those definitely mess with certain bands. Yeah. Yeah. Make that move and he can gear talk too. Honestly, he has no idea what any of this stuff does. Loves music, loves to like if when he's in town, he loves to come and sit in my studio here with me and like just watch what I'm doing. Like it all fascinates him. And like watching me do what I do, he's like, I have no idea how you know how to do that. And like it for him it's impressive, but it's like another language. I might as well be, a rocket scientist to him. And not that sounds braggy, and I don't mean it like that at all. But yeah, he would 100% sit in here and just, talk music and guitars and all that kind of stuff. Perfectly loud. What's going on? So go ahead and brag you should. No, I hate sounding like I'm being braggy about things. Like that's why I hate some of this content creation stuff because I feel like some of it's showing off. And I know that's stupid, but like that's just that's the impression I get from it. So I'm like I don't want people to think I'm bragging or like trying to show something off or sound like a know-it-all or anything like that. But it's part of the game. If you know it, show it. Yeah, I'm getting more comfortable with it. I'm trying to. So waiting in the car for my wife to leave work. Nice, man. Well, I appreciate you joining us. So I'm just trying to keep up with my nephews. One used to tour with Eric Gales as his bassist. No kidding. Holy crap, man, that's awesome. Dude, Eric Gales is so underrated. That guy really needs more attention. He's such a great guitarist. Actually, my buddy was just here like less than an hour ago. Uh or about an hour ago, I guess. He's got Eric Gale's autograph tattooed on his arm. Just dude's a fucking great guitarist. I agree. It's the difference between being confident and bragging. You have every right to be confident. Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I it's I'm trying to like mentally find the right balance on some of it. Like I know what I'm talking about, but I hate to come across as like a know-it-all. And with people on the internet, everyone has something to say. So yeah, it's one of those things. Trying to find the balance for me. Gutty Rank says, "What's your favorite slash go-to amplifier?" Um, so that recently just changed, but I'm a huge fan of pairing a Vox AC30 with a deluxe reverb. That's been my sound for years. Especially if I'm doing a wet dry thing, I'll do the dry to the Vox and then the wet to the Fender. I just love the way that those two pair with each other. But recently I moved over to the Tone King Imperial because it sounds so good. But it does the Fender like deluxe reverb clean kind of thing. So that might be why I like it as much as I do. But for me, the Vox AC30 plus the Fender, it works. They just pair so well together. It works for almost anything. Said Eric Gales is one of my favorites, and even my 2-year-old jams the swamp. Nice, man. I would have to say you're raising him right then. That's awesome. Like I love like I get I have my cousins or my brothers they'll send me videos of my nieces and nephews jamming to old music and everything and like good music, and it always makes me so happy. It's like they're being raised right. Alex, my go-to is my 64 JMI AC30. Nice, dude. Ah, that that makes me proud, honestly, because my my dream amp, it used to be the Marshall Silver Jubilee, which is I have one now. But my dream amp now, I guess, is a 64 AC30. The 64 sounds so good. Like to me, that was the golden year of AC30s. Like I my dream amp kind of changed as I went along. First it was the Silver Jubilee, then it was a Matchless, and I own both of them. And now it's 64 AC30, and I want one so badly. Can't go wrong. It's with my Marshall. It's two of the 30th anniversary models. Nice. Ah, man. I I have a buddy who has a 67 AC30, and I might be selling it for a reasonable price that I might consider, but it's also not a 64. The speakers in the box are original blues. Dude, oh, that's great. That's so perfect. Hey, Jane Flo, what's going on, brother? How are you? How's everything? Appreciate you coming in, man. And thank you for the heart me. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Uh, Jonathan, I'm building a walnut telly from a tree that my grandfather planted. I need a neck. What are your thoughts on Warmoth necks? First off, that is so cool. That is awesome to hear. Building a walnut Telecaster from a tree that my grandfather planted. That is so cool. Warmoth necks. Honestly, I don't know too much about them. I know I looked into them like 5, 6 years ago when I was trying to build one of my guitars. But I couldn't tell you too much about them. I do know that a lot of people go with them and trust them, but I can't specifically speak to them. I know that's a crappy answer, but yeah, play some old song and dance. Yeah, it's not quite my style. I'm still trying to fake my way through playing country music. And Irish, thank you for modding like a champ. Best in the game. Cash, what is my style? So I actually just got done talking about it. I I grew up on kind of like a rock and blues sort of thing, like Red Hot Chili Peppers, Hendrix. That's where I came from. So, uh, yeah, that kind of like bluesy sort of thing, like the borderline Mayer-esque. And not only that, but with the Chili Peppers too, coming from like playing funk, like that funk thing that they do. That's my bread and butter. Um, like when I used to play with a pop rock band over in Austin, and we did a lot of that kind of syncopated percussive rhythm, and that's where I thrive. This next are pretty good, but usually need level and recrown. Okay, well that's honestly good to know. Because I'm actually considering rebuilding one of my Telecasters, so I will have to take a look at Warmouth, honestly. Um, he says, "Hell yeah, I love the Imperial. The channel switching and built-in attenuator is epic, especially how you can attenuate the lead but keep the rhythm full blast." Yeah, man. So I'm using the preamp pedal now. It's got three 12AX7s in it, and it's got the rhythm and lead channel, total control over either, and it just plays so good. It works really, really well. It's got the IRs built into it and everything. I really, after playing this, I want to get the combo now. I ended up selling my Imperial to get an '89 Mesa Boogie Mark III green stripe head. Nice. All right, that's forgivable. I I can understand that. I have a Mesa Boogie Mark V here that sounds really, really good. That may end up being one of my live amps because I'm kind of being poached for another group that has another guitarist, so I may end up needing to Go 4 cable method instead of 5, and the Mesa Boogie might be my move. I'll play some Stevie Ray then. Oh, geez. I haven't played Stevie in I don't even know how long. Ooh. I'm gonna put this up. I don't know what my full drive is set on. Not getting as much Tube Screamer as I'd like. Yeah, I don't like the way the Les Paul does the Tube Screamer, like that mid forward, like bluesy thing that a Strat does better. I do not like it on here. So, dude, the Krankenstein is goated. Interesting. I don't think I've ever played through a crank amp. Um, yeah, interesting to hear that though. I don't know anybody who uh has played a crank. Said I've had a few Mesas. My favorite was an early '90s Rev G 2-channel dual rack. Nice. Okay. Man, I would love a dual rack. I actually, you know what? I own a single rec. It's at my studio downtown. Um, I don't use it a ton. It's more for the bands that come in because Houston has a big like metal and emo scene. Seth, awesome shirt. Oh, thank you. It's nice to meet a fellow Coheed fan. Not many people know them, and anyone who does typically doesn't like them. So good to meet you. Fuck. I know I'm screwing this up. Yeah, I haven't played it in so long. So my buddy has a crank. It's okay, but it's kind of a one-trick pony. All right, good to know. Yeah, I mean, I've never had a reason to. I know I was around one once, I think, in like high school, but that was it. Never really paid too much attention to it. But I've never really seen anybody playing one, so I never gave it too much attention. I've had a single rec. I liked it more than the triple. No kidding. Why is that, Hypergolic? I'm curious. Like I like the way the single rec sounds. Don't get me wrong, but the dual rec to me is just like just that much better. But why the single over the triple? Seth, Coheed is one of the few bands that release new music that hits just as hard as Roll stuff. Dude, thank you so much for saying that. I agree. I have friends that are either like diehard Coheed fans like me, or they just absolutely hate them. I love Coheed, dude. I see them every year. We just saw them in September when they came to Houston. But every album they come out with, I've yet to be disappointed by. The only album I don't like is Single Stage or Second Stage, excuse me. Uh like I not a fan of that album. The old like but In Keeping Secrets, great album. Hold on, I saw Irish, you said something about do a link tree in your bio for bands you play with. So, sorry it took me so long to get to that. I can't put a link in my bio yet for whatever reason. TikTok is just not having it. I think you have to hit a certain amount of followers, if I'm not mistaken, or be a business account. Um, so it won't let me put links in my bio for that stuff. I have like a link tree sort of thing, um, with music I've been on or music I've produced or mixed or whatever it is. But I can't put it on TikTok for whatever reason. Cash, thank you for the follow, man. I appreciate you. You said the triple had too much headroom. All right, that's fair. I can see that. I can see that being the case. I, especially with the those heavy duty maces. Like there's a huge difference between the heavy duty maces versus the boogies. Um, Not to state the obvious, but um, you can push those amps too hard. Where I with the single rec, I like it enough to where I can get what I want out of it, and I don't feel like I need more. And if I do, I can always push it with a pedal or something. Uh, but yeah, like it does what I want it to. I mean, I haven't played through a triple rec yet, but I can definitely see it being too much. Diego Labra, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining in. Fire and Flesh. Most of our stuff was recorded with Krankenstein and Randall Thrasher. Interesting. Okay, dude. You know what? Randalls are fantastic amps. I think they're kind of slept on. Most of the Randalls I've seen were solid state. My adoptive father-in-law, I guess, used to play a Randall, and it sounded great. Irish, thank you for finding out. If you're able to, I'd appreciate that because I really want to do a link in bio kind of thing. You said my indie band tracked 4 albums with a modded deluxe and an AC30 perfect sound. Dude, that's what I'm saying. The AC30 with a deluxe or even a twin sounds great. It just they work well together. Like that's my go-to. And with most of the stuff that I'm recording now, it's usually like rock and country. My go-to first is the deluxe. Like I that's just what I start with. And if I just need the Vox AC30 thing, I'll patch in after, double the parts, and I'll blend it in, and they just work so well. I feel like they don't need a ton of blending. Just those two amps, the way they're voiced. Like live, I was using the Universal Audio, the Dream, and the Ruby in conjunction with each other, either running wet dry or whatever it may be. But like they work. Yeah, they lay in the mix perfectly. Absolutely. Fire and Flesh, absolutely slept on. Yeah, man. Dude, the Randalls they're such great amps. I don't see them as often as I'd like to. More people lean toward the Mesa. All right, Goody ranks. Sorry, man. The post 2010 Rectos with the updated Monster Clean circuit and multi-watt function is killer. I bet the 90s reissues they just came out with slap. Oh, you said Lone Star. Sorry. So the updated Lone Star Clean circuit. You know, I don't know if I've tried that or not. I don't know what year my single rec is. Um I mean, to me, if I'm playing through or if I'm tracking somebody through a rectifier, a Mesa rectifier, we're not going for clean. 9 times out of 10, there's nothing clean about whatever's being played. Like I'm using it for that chunky, kind of mid scoop thing. Uh, but the boogie, if you want a nice clean, the boogie is great for that. So the 90s reissues. I gotta take a look at the 90s reissues. I just I guess really in the last year and a half, uh opened myself up to Mesa Boogie. It was never an amp that I needed or wanted to play. So I just started like kind of getting into them, and like I said, I have the Mark V, the 25 version, and man, it sounds so good. It's a nice Fender Strat. Thank you. My Here, I'll show you this. 1 second. Hopefully it doesn't pull me out or anything. I'll show you my go-to strat. So this right here is my real baby. This is a 63 Strat. Uh, Dude, it plays like a dream. I love this guitar so much. It It's got a much thicker neck than you would expect for a Strat. It's almost Gibson-esque, like how thick that neck is. Um, but man, I love that guitar so much. That's that's my normal go-to. It just depends on the context, but if I'm gonna come in my studio and I'm gonna pick up a guitar, it's that one. The most underrated amp I've had is an Old England Laney AOR Pro 50. Nice. Okay. See, Laney, that's another one. I've never paid too much attention to them. I know they sound great. The AOR Pro 50. Interesting. I'll have to check that out. Dude, that's dope. Beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I picked that up from so the other guy that works with me at the Rig Doctor here, Jacob, he he goes through guitars and pedals like toilet paper. It's honestly comedic. He'll buy a guitar, pedal, amp, whatever it may be, and will usually drop a decent amount of money on it, and then 6 months later he's selling it. And I picked this up from him, and he replaced it with a 60s custom shop Fender, whatever it is. Uh, he ranks, damn, what kind of pickups are in the 63 Strat? Just the stock ones, honestly. It sounds so good, man. I can't say that enough. Like before I picked this one up in I want to say 22, uh might have been 21. I was playing so my custom Relic Telly that I have, the company that made that frequency out in the Philippines, I had them build me a custom Strat as well. And I have a 50s reissue Strat here too. And those were my go-tos for a bit until I played this, and I was just looking for like my final Strat, and I picked this up completely on a whim. I bought it sight unseen. Never played it, and just was like, screw it. I've wanted a 60s Strat. I'm just gonna go for it, and I'm buying it from somebody I trust. So it got shipped to me. I picked it up and played it, and I will never get rid of that guitar. That that does everything I want a Strat to do. Plus, it's got the heavy duty Relic. The pickup sounds so good. I had it set up by my tech, and it's played like a dream since. And honestly, I would play it out live right now if I didn't need humbuckers for the project I'm playing with now. But yeah, man, I'm so picky when it comes to guitars. Like the to me the aesthetic is as important as um the sound. And man, I once I saw it, I fell in love with it. All right, let's go back to some of this live stuff. So where did we leave off? Oh yeah, we were talking about redundancies earlier. Like depending on what amp you're playing, like have some sort of backup. There's a million options out there for whatever you're doing. Like there is some sort of like reasonable backup. So if you're playing a Laney, you're playing a crank, like you can get yourself like an HX Stomp or something along those lines, or the UA, what do they have, the Knuckles and the Anti or something like that. And like they can get you through a gig if your amp goes down. So I highly recommend, just like, especially if you're a gigging musician, have a backup plan, and based on the setup that you're doing, have an easy way to patch that backup plan in. Because, like, the big touring guys, all they have to do is flip a switch and their redundancy rig is now in play. Whereas, your local guitarist or bedroom guitarist, whatever it may be, you don't have that flexibility. So, whatever your backup plan is, have it ready to go and make sure that you have a quick and easy way to patch it in. So it's at most you're down for a couple of minutes. Oh, okay. So that's why I have a second Marshall head in my live-in. Yeah, dude, exactly. Like that's a great option. Now, that's not reasonable for everybody. Um, if you can have that flexibility of having that second head with you at all times, just all you have to do is change the cable over. Great, that's perfect. But financially or just space or whatever it may be, not everyone has that option. So if you're playing through a Marshall, pick up a UA Lion, and dial that into the same kind of sound, or like I said, an HX Stomp, like all these great amp sims out there that, yeah, they're not as great as the real thing. They can cover you in a pinch and get you by. So I highly recommend doing that. Like for me, I'm using a 2 preamp live, but in my pedalboard case, I have a backup. I have just an amp sim pedal that I can plug in and patch in, and I'm ready to go. So it makes a huge difference. Like I've been on gigs where something of mine just stopped working, and it is a nightmare. It's enough to get you fired from a gig. So depending on what your situation is, like it's worth dropping the extra money for the peace of mind. Now, like when you're putting your boards together too, though, you wanna make sure it makes sense. Jars Life, what's going on, man? Appreciate you joining in. Goody Rank says this might sound crazy, but the tiny Boss IR2 kills if you put aftermarket IRs in it. Plus, it's only the size of a Boss pedal. It's only $200. Honestly, yeah, there you go. The Boss IR2 or the IR200, whatever you've got, you're set. Like that will 100% do the job. Now, to me, some of Boss's digital emulations can miss the mark a little bit, but I've heard really good things about the IR2. Never personally tried it, but I've heard great things, and that's a $200 pedal. You can grab some IRs online for what, $50 at most, and you probably get a bunch of them. And now you have an all-in-one setup. And honestly, with the Boss IR2, it's got the effects loop built into it and everything too. So if you run 4-cable method, you're already set. You're just rerouting your cabling, and that should take you 2 minutes to repatch in. Jars, thank you for the follow, man. I really appreciate it. Welcome to sorry. Boston Man, can you play Shepherd of Fire? No, I cannot. I'm sure it pisses people off when everyone's like, "Hey, can you play this?" I'm like, "No, I can't." And it's not that I couldn't play it. I don't know it. I haven't learned it. Donnie Oz, thank you for the follow, man. Said AMT had some all analog amp models, even with the tubes. They are similar to Boston or size. Actually, that's a good point. I know which ones you're talking about. They're the ones that they're kind of like weird shaped. But honestly, from what I heard, they sounded great. They have a couple of newer ones, they have like a Fender, a Vox, all that kind of stuff. But that's actually a great option. If you don't want to carry an amp, you can use one of these amp models that's tube. Doesn't really take up a lot of space. Like, highly recommend that. Jar's Life. So I ran a Tonex for a while, but seemed like it would break up or distort very easily. So I've never tried the Tonex, admittedly, but everyone I know that has really liked it. Especially the like the capture function on it. So I can't speak to, it breaking up or distorting very easily, but I've heard nothing but good things about the Tonex. I've never needed to buy one. Like it's not something I feel like I would use, but um, you're gonna have that problem with all those digital amp modelers, though. It's they're not going to they're not going to actually behave like a real amp would, because there's no transformers, there's no tubes, it's all emulation. So to me, you're gonna get a tube preamp pedal is gonna get you closer to what you want. So it sounds great, just didn't mix well. Yeah. So like to me, for if you're gonna use something like a Tonex, right? What I recommend to people is get yourself a tube preamp, something that's not voiced specifically. So like what is it? The Kingsley Squire or the Kingsley Page, or Effectrode has, I want to say it's called a Fire Bottle. Something like that in front of an amp sim will change its characteristics completely. Now you're putting an actual tube in your signal chain, and um your amp sim is going to behave a little bit differently, and you're going to get that tube warmth out of it. So to me, that's a much better option than just going, straight with a Tonex or something along those lines. You put a tube in your signal, it's going to make a huge difference. Yeah, the I like I said, I haven't messed with the Tonex. I honestly haven't even bothered to listen to demos of it, because it's just not something that I could see myself using. But I see a lot of worship guitarists tend to use the Tonexes and the Kempers more often than not. I was gonna try to run it through the effects loop of my tube amp, but haven't gotten around to it. Honestly, that's not a bad idea either. Set your tube amp to clean, and then uh use the Tonex as your actual amp sound. That would help a ton. And part of the problem with that, though, is admittedly a lot of people are lazy, and now they have to get out, they have to run 4 cable method, and most people either don't know how to do it, they don't want to do it, and to me it's worth it. It's worth the extra hassle, patching all the cables in, but you're going to get a better sound out of it, especially trying to use an actual tube preamp to run through a Tonex or a Quad Cortex or something like that. But most people frankly don't know how, or they're too lazy to do it. I'm already running 4 cable. Okay, so yeah, for you then it's easy, but you'd be surprised, like not as many people run 4 cable method as they should. I usually tell people like running 4 cable method is never a bad idea, as long as your amp can support it. The only problem is if you're in a band, or you're playing locally, or you go out to a bar or whatever it may be, and you run into a backline situation. If the amp that they have for you does not have an effects loop, you're screwed for the most part. Now there's a workaround to it, but most people don't know what it is. Come on. But so, all right, where were we? Sorry, I keep getting distracted. I apologize. Um, where are we? So yeah, let's talk like with these live rigs, like pedal placement and just overall layout. Like for one, put time into your layout. Like that says, I'm looking for a good cheap distortion and get the Metallica Slayer sound. Huh. I mean, my first instinct is to push you towards a boss, but I don't necessarily want to do that. Metallica Slayer sound. Let's see. You kind of want that. I mean, a Procore Rat would. It's not a Procore Rat's not a bad option, but it is kind of fuzzy. Like this is a rat. Like it's kind of fuzzy sounding. I don't think I don't think for Metallica Slayer you want to go with a rat personally. Both stayed away from pedals and I don't want a new amp. So if you're not looking to buy a new amp, I mean that gets expensive, so I get that. But think about pedals that they kind of supplement what you're already doing. Like whatever sound your amp is giving you, this is just to supplement that. Now you can revoice your amp. You can. I don't want to get into like the science of pedals, but honestly, a pedal here isn't a bad idea. If as far as distortions go, the Walrus Ages might be not the Ages. I'm sorry. The Eras Walrus Audio Eras is not a bad option. It's not. It's not metal distortion. Um, is there a cheaper computerized something with a bunch of presets? This is playing some covers. Yeah, I mean, honestly, look at the Boss OD 200. That'll probably do what you want. The Boss the Boss OD 200 has several overdrive options. It'll have a metal distortion in there, and it's pretty adjustable. And I don't think it's very expensive. I want to say it's like $200. Maybe not. I don't know if that's as cheap as what you're looking for, but um, yeah, the OD 200 might not be a bad idea. Not coming to us. Oh crap! You guys aren't hearing it on IG at all? Did that help any? Well, that would have been good to know before. Gutty Rank says I vote for the Friedman BEOD. For you, Ned. Um, honestly, the BEOD is not a bad option. Um, I don't know if it would necessarily do the metal thing, but I would definitely check into it. The BEOD, Friedman BEOD or the Boss OD 200. I would say look at those. They're both fairly affordable. The OD 200 is going to give you a little more versatility. Like there's a lot more variety in there, but the Friedman BEOD is a little more specific, but it might do what you're wanting it to do. So I'm gonna check it out. I've been looking for exactly this in a local shop. Has not helped. Yeah, honestly, most local shops, unfortunately, they're not the most competent on this kind of thing. I trust ChatGPT more than my local music shop, personally. Can't put me no guitar yet. All right. Pittman. And Jonathan, do me a favor. I'm gonna snap into the mic. Are you hearing this clearly, or does it sound like it's slightly distant? Because I am let me double check here. We hear guitar on TikTok. Okay, good. So you're hearing it on this side. For whatever reason, it's not showing up on this side. Interesting. Okay. Huh. Well, I'm getting a signal. Right, you said it clearly. Okay. So it sounds like you're getting the mic coming in clearly. Hmm. Still nothing, Jonathan? I'm pushing the signal a little bit to the point that it's clipping. Yeah. I don't know, see, I can't win. It doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter how complicated I make this setup. I just can't win. Shit, can you play Cowboys from Hell? Nope. Gonna disappoint yet again. No, I cannot. Sorry. So most of the other guitarists on here that go live, they take requests, they play songs people want to hear and all that kind of stuff. I commend them for that. I don't want to do that. I really, really, really don't want to do that. Like for one, I just don't play enough like regular songs like that to warrant it. Um, but I really don't want to like sit here and try to fumble through, requests from people. So that's part of why like I don't do that. I'm sure I'm at some point I'm gonna have to just give in and do it, but I'm really, really trying to avoid that. I like the more like Q&A kind of thing and where, people talk back and forth and everything. You'll play whatever song I request. There he is. He's come to berate me. So you should learn it because it would make you cool. But I'm cool enough. Now cue Eric to shoot me down and kill my ego. Just since I agree, I tell people it'll sound better if you let me play whatever comes to mind. Exactly. That's how I feel about it. That's exactly how I feel. I like I'd rather just sit here and like mess around. Everlong by the Foo Fighters. You know what? That's another one. I don't know how to play it, and I should. That it's it's almost blasphemous that I don't know how to play it. What is it? Yeah, I never actually learned it, if I'm being honest. Eric, I think you're there's supposed to be there's a word missing in that message of yours. Jonathan, don't stress. I'm here for the gear information. Well, I appreciate it. I genuinely don't understand why the signal isn't coming through there. Like, I tested it. It should be coming through no problem. I'm getting a signal on the interface. Honestly, if anything, I'm clipping because I turned it up so much to try to compensate. So I genuinely don't understand why. Jars says, all right, what's your favorite pedal? Always on pedal. It's a good question. Honestly, the EP booster. Exotic EP booster. That's what this is here. I have that in every one of my rigs. It's in my studio rig. It's on my live board. It's always on. It just gives me that little extra, whatever I need. It gives it to me. Said I have the XP compressor. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I actually just picked one of the SP compressors up. I was putting a little fly rig together, and I just put it on there. For me, compression is always on. I'm not using any in my studio uh, board system, but for live stuff, it's always on. And I'm not ever doing anything heavy enough to where, it warrants turning it off. But yeah, if I'm live, always on is compression for one, but it always the EP booster too. Like I like my amp sound to be kind of broken up. And then I use the EP to just push it a little bit more. So that I'm just driving the tubes a bit more. Jonathan says, I want the Tone King, but any cheaper alternatives? So I don't know what the Friedman IR pedals are priced at, but that might be cheaper. I don't know if it's much cheaper because it's kind of the same thing. So there's a company in Japan called crap, what is it? HTJ Works. They're on IG. He just a few months ago released a what's it called? It's a Fender Deluxe Reverb 2 preamp. It's a single 12AX7 tube and mono in, mono out, built-in reverb. It's got an 1/8" line out with a cab sim built into that if you want that. I think it's like $300. Anything with a tube in it is going to be, a little more pricey, but that's probably the closest thing I can think of that's going to be more affordable. Trying to think what else there is. If not that, I mean, look at Kingsley. Kingsley has the I think it's the Page or the Squire. I'm sorry. It's like $300. It's a 12AX7 tube, but they have 3 different voiced ones. They've got a Fender, a Vox, and a Dumble. So you can always do the Fender one, but they just voice them a little bit differently. So that's one option you can go with. Because the Imperial, the Tone King is, I want to say 600 new. But if the Friedman isn't much cheaper, then I would say go with the Kingsley stuff. Because there's that other company, Effectrode, but they're very pricey. They're more expensive than the Imperial stuff. Thank you for the heart, me, Eric. I appreciate your love. Damn, YouTube is eating me alive today. Ooh, I said that out loud. My bad. YT is eating me alive today. For whatever reason, I'm getting all the trolls. I've had several people comment on my hair. Few people insinuating I'm part of a particular community. Jeez. Jars, man, thank you for the heart me. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love. Should jump over to my team, be a bouncer. No, it's not even worth it, honestly. I'm not getting a ton over there, and I just tried it today just for craps and giggles. Um, just figured why not? Let's see. But I'm not worried about it. Said the freak is real. Dude, seriously. Like I'm getting all the trolls on there. You know, I'm gonna screenshot this the tube uh live stream chat. Um it's honestly funny. Like I should be insulted, but it's funny. Tips on building a clean pedalboard, preferred patch cables. Absolutely. Thank you for the question. Now we're right up my alley. So don't skimp out. That's probably my biggest piece of advice. Um, plan your layout accordingly. Like actually put the time into it. Plan it out properly. Commit when you have everything in front of you. Um, yeah, it's honestly, let me see, zip ties and tie down mounts like for your cable management. Like make sure you're actually tying stuff down and keeping things clean. So prefer patch cables. I use Mogami. So on the Rig Doctor, it's the rigdr.com. We make custom cables there. Mogami with square plug connectors. That's what I use on my board. I've never had a problem with it. But Mogami is my go-to for cabling for everything. Instrument cables, patch cables, mic, MIDI, everything. Get yourself some like decent buffers and a quality power supply. That's the biggest thing. The cables and the power supply. If you're going to put money into it, put it there. JPH Sunburst LP. Oh, that's perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a 2016 Les Paul traditional. So the jump is So I said Walrus Audio Canvas 8. Yes. So I use the Canvas 15 on my board personally. I love the Canvas stuff. Sorry, so you got the power supply covered. Yeah, man, I would say Mogami cables. Get yourself some like a decent input and output buffer, depending on the setup that you're running. But yeah, you wanna make sure you're doing it properly. I probably got another maybe 10 or 15 minutes. My phone just hit 19%. Not able to charge it and use the interface at the same time. So Pedal Train Metro 20 and MXR cables. Okay. So the MXR cables better than solderless, but I wouldn't commit to them personally. I mean, Pedal Train Metro. I'll be honest, I don't like Pedal Train boards. And it's because of, like the slats, you lose half of the real estate on the board just because of those slats, and it makes cable management difficult. Plus, like you're really limited to uh, hard to manipulate. Yeah, you're really limited on those boards. So I usually tell people to stay away from Pedal Train unless like if that's what you've got and or that's what you can afford or whatever it may be, great. But if you're looking to buy, I don't recommend Pedal Train. Where's Namtax Group? That's a great question. I sent it out to them, I believe, on TikTok. Need the Apple dongle that has the extra charging port. Eric, can you send me the link for that? Because if it's the camera one, um, I couldn't find it locally. I had to even on Jeff Bezos' platform, it wasn't gonna get here for like another week or two. No, it's not the kind. Okay, yeah, I need that because doing the one cable thing is kind of a pain. I have a USB-C hub here that I wanted to use, but there's no USB-C ports on the actual hub itself. Jonathan, can I send you a picture of my board for advice? Yeah, man. Shoot me a DM and I'll help you out. Now, normally I will say for this sort of thing, we do consultations that are paid. But if it's just a simple kind of fix, then I can help you out. But if it's something we need to go like in depth on, then I definitely recommend doing a consultation, which are hour long over Google Meet, just a one-on-one chat over video call where we dive into whatever you want to do. Um, but for just simple stuff, yeah, man, shoot me a DM. Okay. All right, I got it, Eric. Thank you. Yeah, definitely want to pick that up for next time. It's like I just got my new iPhone, and I'm trying to maintain the battery on it, so I'm not charging it all the way. Um, so like I was starting today with 90%. And this like it's weird too because when I had my 15 Pro Max before, the battery on it was awful, and I would usually be okay, 2.5 hours in on a live stream, whereas this one I'm already at 17% and I'm on what, an hour 45 in. Jonathan, thank you. You're welcome, Jonathan. Yeah, just shoot me a DM. If I don't get to it tonight, I'll get to you tomorrow. These YouTube comments are killing me. Jeez. Tim Flanagan, what's going on? Thank you for joining in. Let's see what we got here. Jar's Life, what kind of setup are you running? What year is that? So this is a 2016 Gibson Les Paul traditional. Yeah, 2016 model. So nothing fancy, but it plays really well. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see. Oh. Is the audio coming through okay here on TikTok? Okay. Yeah, I gotta figure out what's going on with IG with the guitar. Last week I understand, but like for whatever reason, there's always something over there. Irish, do you know anyone else supposed to be going live tonight? I assume Clay is, but just want to make sure I jump in. East of Anthony, thank you for the follow, man. I appreciate you. Since stereo pinning sounds incredible, do you have the delay bouncing between left and right? So oddly enough, no. So my system is wired in stereo. But I've got the left out running to my amp switcher back there. My right output is running into my Kemper, and then I'm taking the stereo outputs of that into two different interfaces. So really, you're just getting the right side of a stereo signal and then split dual mono from there. So, yeah. So Tony's going live shortly. All right, nice. I hear the rock scene is pretty good in Houston. Actually, yeah, it's pretty good here. It's like rock, metal, and emo. That's the biggest things here. A lot of kind of garage bands for the most part, but there is some talent here. But yeah, it's like rock and emo and like some punk and whatnot. Those are the biggest things out here. So how about stuff like us? What are you? Alternative hard rock band from Arkansas. So, a little bit. There's some like alternative and indie bands here. A couple hard rock bands. One of my buddies is in a trio hard rock band, kind of a like I don't know how to describe them, like AC/DC meets Foo Fighters in a way. Um, so yeah, there's some of that here. It's just it's such an eclectic mix, but I would definitely say emo and punk and just rock in general are definitely like at the forefront of the Houston music scene. A little bit of country, but country here is more so popular for like the touring bands that come through, like the touring country artists. But here too, with the music scene the way it is, it's very clicky. Like they kind of form their like little chapters and whatnot, or like little collectives. So it's strange. So we're kind of like let's flat leaf. Interesting. Okay, I gotta check you guys out. That's interesting. Huh. Here, I'll let me drop you guys a follow here. Do you guys have stuff on Apple Music and Spotify and whatnot? Streaming everywhere. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll check you guys out. I'm always looking for new music. Do you guys ever come down to Texas to play at all? So we're looking into it right now. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, if you guys have any questions about the scene here or any venues that you may want to play, let me know. Um, I'm not like fully tied into the scene here, but I know a few people that may may always be looking for openers or anything like that. So what pedals are you using? It's a good question. I've got a few here. So I'm running a rack system with a controller. On my drives, I'm running an EP booster, 1981 DRV, full tone OCD, and a full drive. Klon Centaur, Wampler Bell, just to give me some options for recording. And then on the wet effects side, I'm running Eventide H9, and this is all in stereo here. Eventide H9, MXR Poly Blue Octave, which is mono, but and then I'm running the Walrus Audio Mako pedals, the M1, D1, and R1. I'm running the V1 versions of those. And then I've also got a Clark Technic Dimension, like a Dimension D rack in here as well. So I kind of get the like the 80s chorusing kind of thing. And then that like Eventide H9 kind of does a little bit of everything. Tone is phenomenal. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It took me a couple weeks to build this rack. Everything's like custom wired, properly buffered. I did a custom rack input kind of thing. I have a walkthrough of it on my page. It's kind of early on, so you'll probably have to scroll a little bit. But I do like a full walkthrough of the setup here. It's kind of running like a 5 cable method. So it gives me the option of running stereo, mono, wet, dry, wet, dry, wet. Yeah, man, Walrus is great. We do a lot of work with them. So I have a ton of their pedals here. They all sound good. Everything they do. Okay. All right. Eric, don't worry. The Octonaut is in use. It's on my other board. Don't worry, I didn't forget about you, buddy. Yeah, East of Anthony, if you have any questions, man, let me know. Um, I can kind of help you do your walkthrough. It's you too. Fair enough. Yeah, I have the yeah, the Octonauts on my like my small like fly rig kind of thing. Not that I'm going anywhere, but I just wanted something a little more compact. Joja Furix says play tenor guitar, have semi-hollow dual humbucks and a hollow with a P90. Any suggestions for what pedals to craft the sound for a full hollow body? Tenor DGBE. Huh. Interesting. Let me see. Semi-hollow dual humbuckers and a hollow with a P90. I would say definitely compression and probably some EQ. That way you can EQ the pickups a little bit to kind of get a little bit more of a hollow body sound. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that's probably your best way. Outside of that, man, I can't think of what else you could do there. Um, yeah, definitely some, you said worship settings. I got you. Okay. Huh. Yeah, I mean, I think EQ is going to be your friend here. Um, if you're going to go EQ, look at the Walrus or not Walrus. I say this every time. Wampler Equator. It's a 3-band EQ, but it gives you options for the frequencies. Or look at the Empress Para EQ, the Mark II. They have a standard version and like a deluxe version, and that should let you dial in the EQ well enough. Or if you want something with like sliders and stuff on it, you can look at the Boss EQ 200, or GFI has the Enigma, but it's Enigma because it's an EQ. I don't know how else to pronounce it. But you need like I think a fairly comprehensive EQ that'll let you mimic the curve of the hollow body pickups. So when you fly to Florida, yeah, absolutely. Honestly, that's fair because if I come out there, I probably should bring something with me. You got plenty of guitars for me to play, so. So the Boss is a good one. Yeah, yeah. I don't see it a ton, but the Boss EQ 200 is good. I wouldn't recommend the GE7, not unless you go with the exact tone modded one. But yeah, I would get yourself like a comprehensive EQ that you can really dial in. I'm probably gonna have to cut this a little short because I'm at 7% and I don't want to die on it. Mel Gibson, man, what? Ugh. We're not doing anything political, man. Jeez, you're in the wrong place for that. Jonathan, MXR10 band. That would work too. Um, I just don't know if the bands are gonna be like what you need, but it might not be a bad option, honestly. It's better than like a 6-band EQ for sure. But yeah, we're gonna. If you guys have any questions, man, shoot me a DM or throw a comment on one of the videos. But yeah, I'm gonna have to cut this short because my phone's getting ready to die. Said, get your Amazon, get your USB-C to C adapter. Yeah, yeah, Eric just sent me a link for one of the Apple adapters. Pittman, what about Mel Brooks, Spaceball 2? Oh, dude, I'm so excited for Spaceballs 2. I can't wait. I grew up on that movie. Or the original. May the Schwartz be with you. But seriously, thank you guys for all the support. Save the battery, yeah. Thank you for for stuff. So he'll have great. Yeah, I'm just gonna get the Apple one. I'm just gonna buy it tonight. But Irish, thank you so much for modding and helping out tonight. I really, really, really appreciate you. Hopefully everything goes well with your house stuff tomorrow. The reno gets done. Eric, I'll hit you up after this, I'm sure. East of Anthony, seriously, thank you guys. Pittman, Jonathan. Sorry, Pittman, I don't know your first name, and I gotta get your first name. But thank you guys for hanging out tonight. Makes all this easier. But we'll probably shoot to do this again probably Tuesday next week. Maybe shoot for like Tuesdays, Thursdays. So, but glad I found you. Likewise, man. I appreciate you. Like I said, I've tried to do this like Tuesday, Thursday nights around the same time, 6 p.m. Central. So yeah, set your notifications, and I'll always post about it beforehand. So, but I will see you guys. Thank you guys. Have a good night. I'll see you, Jonathan.